Hello everybody, it's Mike Levin. Tuesday, February 27th, 2018, and around 6 p.m. I left work and I'm walking down 5th Avenue just to maybe see how far I can go before I hop on the train. I guess as long as I take the train at all, which I plan on doing, it costs the same no matter where I get on and off. And the commute has really been grating on me for a number of reasons. And I think the lack of the walk and the exercise, followed by the walk up the 215 steps very often, has kind of been a reverse shock to my system, maybe lack of exercise, and now my cat is in the hospital for the symptoms associated with the onset of diabetes, so there's potentially a kidney-related thing, and there's also an infection, so he's fighting a triple whammy. And I stopped in to see him a few times, including this morning, and he, had a look in his eye. He had a look in his eye. And I was really torn to pieces yesterday because there was no look in his eye. And if you know Sammy, you know that Sammy has the ability to project nearly human emotion. I know it's all anthropomorphizing, but those who know cats who think they're human, or at least those who know cats who think they're human know those types of cats, and Sammy is one of those types of cats. And in that whole, how he associates, how he tries to interact with people, you know, what he is interested in going on in a room, all very human and all very, yin. Sammy is the yin on the yin and yang, or no, the yang, he's yang, right? I got the G placed wrong. I'm sure it's pretty common, but yin and yang. And I could go into those sounds and that symbol and the variations on that symbol because as anyone following me saw, I had made it into, part of my new logo, combining my upside down logo. You'll see it here on my YouTube channel page. So if you just check me out by happenstance through Google Hits or whatever, I encourage you to go to my channel page. I push out a diversity of media, or I guess ideas and topics. I'm one of these people who just thinks everything is and should be blended together, because if I'm not making money off of it really directly, other than this, chump change of YouTube advertising, then I might as well stay, 100% integrity, true to myself, even with audience awareness and, breaking the fourth wall just automatically by assumption. I'm a vlogger, so I've resisted the YouTube real community, even though I have been to the YouTube studio over here in New York and Chelsea Piers several times for events, just to feel it out, to see if it's something I'd be interested in. That kind of stuff usually is loaded with so much pretense that I kind of avoid that stuff. I mean, I'm one of those people too. It's like, the last thing a introvert wants to do is hang around another introvert. And as comes up often in these topics, when I'm talking to my daughter, what are the characteristics in common to, say, animators? And I gotta tell you, I have a lot more in common with animators than I do with YouTubers. Because animators, just by virtue of their craft, are forced to be multidisciplinary. I fear going, wacky there, but there's something having to do with the multiple parts of your brain being activated at the same time, being forced to use a variety of languages, visual languages, script writing, to tell a story that just makes those people, well, chicken and egg. Are they nerds who end up animating because they're nerds, or does trying to animate turn you into, who knows? But there's a certain personality that's drawn to animation, which is oftentimes meticulous, as much as some of them want to talk about how scatterbrained they are about their files and their script writing. They're just following their intuition on certain orders of organization, but they're still, you know, working in a highly structured and disciplined way in order to express themselves, much more so than most of the people out there who, you know, don't even see the difference between Twitter 140 characters and 280 characters and how much more idea space. It's not ×2, trust me. When you look at the word space, number space, idea space being created by every character, with a single character, it's, you know, these days the Unicode character set. And with a second character, it's Unicode times Unicode. So this is one of those, you know, monkeys on typewriters can produce Shakespeare eventually if, you know, random was, you know, just thrown at it. And, you know, there's a lot of fallacies there. That, by the way, is an argument of what they call sophistry. Don't give in to it. There's lots of ways where people can just shut off all avenues of investigation or even ways of life, you know, paths, forks, possible futures for you by casting things aside with an offhanded remark that just sounds true. For example, the direction I'm going with my Twitter feed, where I'm sort of unrolling my whole, you know, book concept, which is basically, you know, the world is just like Alice in Wonderland. There's a reason it's the prototype story of its kind. I mentioned this on the last video, but in this case, let's see, so just make sure I follow the train of thought properly. It's somewhere I was going with my Twitter feed. Some reveals I'm doing there, or some reveals I'll do here, because I can talk ahead of what I'm doing in the Twitter feed. Okay, yeah, so I'm using all these channels for idea capture. Medium.com, I pushed something out on today. Twitter, which has its new Twitter space. That definitely brings back the idea, but I'm also here on YouTube, of course, and I'm doing fairly well on each of these channels. Not gangbusters, but the world is turning my way, and the kinds of things I like to think about and talk about, the sci-fi reading that I do anyway, the pictures that I take with my camera anyway, the animation that has always been in my blood, but which was turned off with the death of the Amiga, is being turned back on in me right now. And the only problem is that the mobile platforms do not have what I consider ready for prime time animation, SVG animation, dare I say flash, shockwave style vector graphics in a mature free and open source version on mobile. Yeah, so it's a pipe dream. It's one of those unicorns in the free and open software world that I would love exist. There's a few things out there. There's some stuff for animation. I know there's Synfig and there's Pencil, and you know, I'll be taking those up. And I actually have GIMP and Inkscape installed on my Note 8. And here in my red bag is my iDex, my Samsung iDex, which I brought